Ukrainian soldiers are advancing on the eastern front line towards the city of Bakhmut. Ukraine's military released a video showing intense gunfighting in trenches on the battlefield. President Volodymyr Zelensky said that his country's soldiers were advancing, but with some difficulty. This week will mark 1 month since Kyiv launched its spring counteroffensive on the 8th of June. 2 people were killed as Russian drones struck buildings in the northern Ukrainian city of Sumi. At least 19 others were wounded in the attack. Firefighters evacuated people from the debris. Ukrainian officials say that 4 drones struck 2 residential buildings after air defenses failed to intercept them. India will host the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO Summit today. The virtual meet will be chaired by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has confirmed his attendance for the SCO meet. Chinese President Xi Jinping will also attend the virtual summit. In the US, the Indian Consulate was attacked by alleged Khalistani supporters in San Francisco. The consulate was set on fire on Monday. No injuries were reported. The US State Department condemned the attack. This is the second time that the Indian Consulate was attacked by Khalistani supporters. The first attack took place in March this year. 4 people, including 2 children, were fatally shot in the city of Philadelphia in the US. At least 4 others were wounded in the shooting. Police officials recovered 3 guns from the scene of the crime. However, the suspect is still at large. This comes a day after 2 people were killed and 28 others were injured in a shooting in Baltimore. An uneasy calm settled over the suburbs of Paris. Flowers and protest signs were placed on the ground where a teenager was killed by police officers last Tuesday. No riots were reported for the first time after 5 nights. Almost 1,500 people have been detained. However, the French police remains deployed in the thousands. The country's justice minister has called for swift action against the rioters. The prime ministers of the Netherlands and Luxembourg arrived in Serbia's capital, Belgrade, on Monday. They met Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić to discuss the ongoing tensions with Kosovo. In recent weeks, Kosovo has experienced its worst ethnic tensions since declaring independence from Serbia in 2008. Ethnic Serbs clashed with NATO troops. This was over the appointment of ethnic Albanian mayors in Serb-dominated regions of northern Kosovo. NATO has deployed over 4,500 troops in Kosovo to prevent further violence. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said he will continue to block Sweden's bid to join NATO. Erdogan accused Sweden of harboring groups that Turkey considers as terrorists. The recent Quran burning outside a mosque in Sweden's capital, Stockholm, has also angered Erdogan. He said, and I quote, "We advise Sweden to scrutinize themselves and do their homework better." Hundreds gathered to protest outside Sweden's embassy in Iran's capital, Tehran. This was over the recent Quran burning incident in Stockholm. Protesters held a copy of the Islamic holy book as they chanted slogans calling for a boycott of the Nordic nation. Iran's government announced that it would refrain from sending a new ambassador to Sweden as a mark of protest over the incident. A scuffle broke out after Israeli police forcefully removed protesters from the Ben Gurion International Airport. On Monday, thousands converged on the airport demanding that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu roll back his planned judicial overhaul. The demonstrators briefly shut off access to the airport, delaying travelers. The protests continued despite Netanyahu scrapping some contentious parts of the judicial overhaul. Meanwhile, Israel's military continued its operation in Jenin city in the occupied West Bank for the second day. At least 500 Palestinian families fled their homes amid gun battles and drone strikes. On Monday, at least 9 people were killed as Israel used airstrikes to hit a building in Jenin. More than 100 civilians were wounded. Israeli officials have said that the raids are part of a counter-terrorism operation. Indonesian President Joko Widodo arrived in Australia's Sydney earlier today. He was given a ceremonial welcome by Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. The two leaders will hold bilateral talks on moving towards a green economy and easing visa restrictions. Albanese and Widodo will also discuss matters related to regional security. Senegal's President Macky Sall said he will not run for re-election in 2024. This comes after opposition leaders accused Sall of wanting to seek a third presidential term, which is illegal in the West African country. Sall's reputation took a hit when he used excessive force to quell unrest in 2021. At least a dozen people were killed. However, Sall said he was stepping away from politics, even though he claims that Senegal's constitution allows him a third term. The murder of a 14-year-old student has sent shockwaves through Argentina. The teenager was allegedly killed by a classmate. Hundreds of people attended the student's funeral. According to the police, the suspect has been detained and has allegedly confessed to the killing. Torrential rains have caused flooding in China's southwestern provinces. Over 600 people have been rescued after floodwaters entered homes. Chinese authorities have evacuated 3 villages. Heavy rains have damaged over 160 homes and 80 roads in China's southwestern regions. A severe hailstorm battered a township near Spain's Valencia. Several cars were damaged due to the hail. Strong winds also damaged the awnings of some restaurants. The hailstorm comes just days after Valencia witnessed a heat wave this summer. Tornadoes ripped through the midwestern states of Indiana and Arkansas in the US. At least 3 people have been killed after dozens of homes were flattened by the twister. About 500,000 people faced power outages due to the storm. This was the 3rd tornado to pass through Indiana in the last 1 week. Meanwhile, a heat wave is scorching southern parts of the US. Temperatures in the state of Arizona touched 46 degrees Celsius. The US National Weather Service advised people to avoid stepping out. Arizona officials have opened water parks for people to beat the heat. Thousands of dead fish washed ashore on a riverbank in Iraq's southeastern region. This is due to a drought that has been ongoing in the West Asian nation. Biologists say samples from the dead fish also showed high levels of chemical substances. The Iraqi Environment Ministry is investigating the wildlife disaster. A French island in the English Channel is implementing a limit on the arrival of tourists this summer. The island, known as Ile de Guaya, sees over 4,500 tourists annually. That's almost 15 times the island's residential population. The island's mayor said that every year they have faced over-tourism, which impacts the surrounding biodiversity. After this new limit, numerous other French islands are considering a restriction on tourism. China will continue control the exports of gallium and germanium products to the US. These metals are widely used in the semiconductor industry. Beijing says these measures are aimed at protecting its national security and interests. The development comes as Washington is mulling new export restrictions on AI chip exports to China. Bankruptcy filings in the US have jumped by 48% in the first half of this year. This is according to Epic Bankruptcy. It provides US bankruptcy filing data. One of the most widely known casualties is SVB Financials, the parent of Silicon Valley Bank. Other companies that have recently declared insolvency include Nordstrom Motors and Bed Bath & Beyond. Australian investment firm Allegro Funds will set up an independent board at PricewaterhouseCoopers Australia. It'll oversee the government business in the company. Last month, Allegro bought the scandal-hit unit for less than $1. Earlier this year, PwC Australia had been accused of leaking confidential government documents to its corporate customers. Amazon has begun rolling out its custom electric delivery vans from Rivian in Europe. This will be electric vehicle maker Rivian's first commercial shipment of vans outside the US. Amazon said 300 electric vans will hit the roads in the Munich, Berlin and Dusseldorf regions in the coming weeks. It's part of the e-commerce giant's long-term plans to electrify its transportation network. South Korea's Samsung Display has filed a lawsuit against Chinese rival BOE Technology. This is over infringing 5 of its display patents used in mobile devices. This includes patents for the Samsung displays used in the Apple iPhone 12. Samsung has demanded damages for the infringement. It's also seeking an injunction to halt the import and sale of the affected displays. Meta is planning to launch a new microblogging app akin to Twitter. The new application will be called Threads. It's expected to be released on Thursday. Threads will be Instagram's text-based conversation app. Users will be able to keep their Instagram username. They'll also be able to follow the accounts that they already follow on the photo-sharing app. Twitter says it has launched a new and improved version of TweetDeck. However, the company has said that it can only be accessed by verified users. The change will take effect in 30 days. This comes just a day after Elon Musk announced limits to the number of tweets users could read on the platform. Meanwhile, Germany-based Twitter alternative Mastodon has been seeing a surge in its platform. This is ever since Elon Musk announced the Twitter rate limits. The CEO of Mastodon said that its active user base has increased by more than 100,000 over the last day. Reports say Microsoft is likely to face a European Union antitrust investigation in the coming months. The probe comes over a complaint by the workspace messaging app Slack. It alleged that Microsoft had unfairly integrated workplace chat and video app Teams into its Office 365 product. The integration allegedly impacted the business of rival companies. In 2017, Microsoft added Teams to Office 365 for free. The World Internet of Things Convention has unveiled the 2023 list of the top 500 IoT firms. These are selected among enterprises specializing in IoT technology and the digital economy from over 100 countries. The companies are working together to bridge the digital divide. Meanwhile, participants in the summit stressed the need for continuous improvement of laws and regulation to protect user data and privacy. Moving to sports. In cricket, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has reacted to the results of the second Ashes Test. Sunak backed English captain Ben Stokes and his criticism of the manner in which Australia won the match. Stokes shared his displeasure at the controversial stumping of Johnny Bairstow. Australia won the second Ashes Test in Lords by 43 runs. In the 50-over Cricket World Cup qualifiers, the Netherlands beat Oman by 74 runs. The match was halted by bad light, and the Dutch side won by the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method. With this win, hopes for a berth in the World Cup are still alive for the Netherlands. Dutch batsman Vikramjit Singh scored his maiden 100, taking his team's total to a whopping 362 runs. In football, Brazilian star Neymar has been fined over $3.3 million for an environmental violation. Neymar breached the rules for the construction of his coastal mansion in southeastern Brazil. The luxury project violated rules regarding the use and movement of freshwater sources. Neymar's spokesperson declined to comment on this matter. Former Liverpool star Steven Gerrard has been appointed as the new manager of Saudi Pro League club Al Ettifaq. Last month, the 43-year-old had said he would not take up the position, but has now made a U-turn. Gerrard has been out of work after being sacked by Aston Villa in October last year. Al Ettifaq finished 7th in the Saudi Pro League last season. Premier League side Brighton have signed Dutch under-21 goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen. The 20-year-old has signed a 5-year contract with Brighton. Although the financial terms of the deal have not been disclosed yet, British media reported the deal to be worth over $20 million. In another Premier League development, Newcastle has signed Italian midfielder Sandro Tonali from AC Milan. Tonali's contract with Newcastle will be for 5 years. No financial details were disclosed, but reportedly Newcastle paid Milan a fee of $76 million. This would mean Tonali would be the most expensive Italian player of all time. India will face Kuwait in the South Asian Football Federation finals today. The match will be played in Bengaluru's Sri Kantirava Stadium. Defending champions India are chasing their 9th title. Debutants Kuwait will be playing their first final. Indian skipper Sunil Chhetri will be looking to win back-to-back trophies after clinching the Intercontinental Cup last month. In tennis, the 2023 Wimbledon Championship has begun. World number 2 Novak Djokovic beat Argentine player Pedro Cachin to start the tournament. The Serbian defeated Cachin 6-3, 6-3, 7-6 in the rain-delayed opener. Djokovic is looking to equal Roger Federer's record of 8 titles at the All England Club. World number 1 Iga Swiatek defeated China's Zhu Lin to launch her Wimbledon journey. The Pole beat Lin 6-1, 6-3 to enter the second round of the tournament. 22-year-old Swiatek, who won the French Open title for the 3rd time last month, is yet to conquer the Wimbledon title. Ukrainian player Elina Svitolina defeated 5-time Wimbledon champion Venus Williams. She beat Williams 6-4, 6-3 in the first round on Monday. This was 43-year-old Williams' 24th Wimbledon appearance. She was the oldest player in this year's field and the 4th oldest to compete in the main draw at Wimbledon. In the world of entertainment, former WWE champion Dwayne Johnson, better known as The Rock, has returned to Fast and Furious. He had earlier left the franchise after a rumored feud with Vin Diesel. That has now reportedly been resolved. Johnson's last appearance in the franchise was in Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs & Shaw, followed by a cameo in Fast X. Johnson and Diesel first shared the big screen together in 2011. Harry Potter star Daniel Radcliffe has commented on the idea of making a cameo in the upcoming HBO reboot TV series. Radcliffe said that he is not seeking out the role in any way. He wished the team all the best and added that he was excited to have the torch passed. Radcliffe portrayed the famous wizard in the movie series from 2001 to 2011. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny continues to struggle at both the US and international box office during its initial week of release. The film's projected global opening weekend earnings of $60 million fell on the lower end of expectations. This marks another setback for a highly anticipated Hollywood blockbuster following The Flash's underwhelming performance in June. Vietnam has banned the highly anticipated Barbie movie due to a scene featuring a map. The map depicts the 9 dash line. It represents China's territorial claims over the South China Sea. Vietnam is one of China's many neighboring countries which strongly dispute China's assertions. The movie was originally slated for release on July 21st in Vietnam. Director Greta Gerwig has landed a deal with Netflix to bring 2 featured film adaptations of the Narnia franchise to the streaming platform. Gerwig is also the director of the upcoming Barbie movie. She started writing and directing in indie films before moving into directing. Her other prominent works include the lauded and Oscar-nominated Lady Bird and Little Women. Thousands of Back to the Future franchise fans took to social media to celebrate the 38th anniversary of the iconic film's release. The film starred Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly and Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown. The time-traveling duo wowed audiences and spawned 2 more movies to make it a trilogy. Back to the Future first graced movie theaters on July 3rd, 1985. Netflix's upcoming stop-motion series, Pokémon Concierge, has received a December 2023 release window. The makers of the show have also released a new teaser starring the Pokémon Psyduck and Lampent. The teaser also stars Haru, a young Pokémon concierge who works at the Pokémon resort that the series takes place in. The show is one of the first new Pokémon series following the end of Ash Ketchum's journey in the original anime. The Heartstopper Season 2 teaser for Netflix's hit teen comedy drama has been released. It teases an upcoming adventure to Paris for Nick and Charlie. The new trailer for this series previews more of the romance between the 2 main characters. The second season of the show will release on August 3rd. Deceased rapper XXXTentacion has topped Spotify's list of their most streamed rap albums of all time. The streaming platform released the top 50 list on Monday, encompassing all data since its inception. The news arrives just weeks after the 5-year anniversary of XXXTentacion's passing. The rapper was murdered during a robbery in Florida's Deerfield Beach in 2018. Leonardo DiCaprio and Jeff Bezos have helped to launch a fund to save the Amazon. The Hollywood star and the Amazon founder have teamed up to donate $200 million towards the Protecting Our Planet challenge. The challenge aims to preserve the wildlife and protect the lives of the indigenous people of the Amazon in Brazil over the coming years. POP claims to be the largest ever private funding commitment to biodiversity conservation.